Hey, what's going on, guys? Welcome to Pillow Talk with Dr. Boyce and Dr. Alicia Watkins. So, my wife and I are in the car actually on our way home. We tend to talk just whatever we feel like it, and so we're not actually against the pillow. Normally the pillow talk is where there's a pillow nearby, but actually we're on the move. So it may sound a little bit weird, but we figured we talk. We like talking to you guys wherever we are, and we figured that that since we're all about the substance rather than the flash, I thought that I would share the conversation we were having. You guys know that my wife, Dr. Alicia, is a full professor of social work, and I'm a professor of finance. So sometimes we have some deep conversations, and I tell you, it's really fun because I love having deep conversations with the woman I love. It's one of the great thrills of my life. And so my wife is here, and we were talking about the power of the subconscious mind and how neurolinguistic programming or various ways of brainwashing yourself is what can limit a lot of people from achieving their goals. Um, Alicia, let me just start by asking you. Here, you can take the phone.
Okay.
The subconscious mind. Why don't you talk about the subconscious mind?
Yeah, I do want to talk about subconscious mind, but I want to thank you for driving
Yeah, yeah.
because I'm here grading papers.
We had a good weekend in Louisville.
Yeah, we had a good weekend, and I'm happy that you're driving. And
Yeah, we went to
and
Paris and the University of Louisville. That was pretty awesome.
yeah, so I'm grateful for you for that. To you for that.
Yeah, when
Hmm.
you can't see in the dark, I had no choice.
Yeah, and then pillow talk is not a literal thing for me. It's figurative.
Oh, like private, like
It's
what a couple will be talking about, like just kind of between each other.
Yeah, well, sometimes I'll tell you things and I'll say, no, this is real pillow talk. Like no one needs to hear this but you. So
Oh, got it.
we got different it's levels to pillow talk,
Oh,
voice. It's
okay.
levels to this.
It's levels to this shit. Ask everybody, can they hear us? Give us
Can
a
you
yes.
hear us?
Give us a
I
yes or
can't.
no.
Can I turn your
Yeah, let me take this.
It is way too dim.
It's too dim. Okay.
Yeah.
Give us a yes in the chat if you can hear us. Okay. We're actually kind of on the move, and so I want to make sure you guys can hear us all right. Give us a yes in the chat if we're coming through all right.
Yeah.
Okay. All right.
I'm your
So
co-pilot today, so I gotta be able to see.
yeah, can you see the yeses? I know you blind as a bat lady.
I am blind, but yes. I got a lot of thumbs up.
Do you see a lot of yeses? If you see a lot of yeses, that means they can hear us.
Okay, they can't hear us. You got a good phone though.
So okay, good. All right. So talk about the subconscious mind.
Okay, well, what do
We
you
were
want to?
talking about what because we were talking about
Well,
how you can program yourself into a certain set of beliefs about yourself, and
yeah,
that can shape your possibilities and outcomes.
well, I really enjoy listening because we were listening to something about it, and what was interesting is he kept talking about your past. Your past it still lives with you, so it's what people tell you about yourself. You believe that, and it's usually like your parents and your teachers and your environment growing up. Like, how do you know your name is Boyce?
Because my mama told me I was
Because your
blessed.
mom called you Boyce and you responded to it. So it's like that with your name, but it's also like that with things that you believe about yourself. What shapes your beliefs about yourself and what you can accomplish?
Mm. Right, right. Yeah,
Right.
well, one of the things that I think a lot of people never learn is, like I train myself to be optimistic. You gotta hold the phone toward me real quick.
Okay. I
That way,
think people can hear you.
yeah. But I literally train myself to be, just infinitely optimistic about who I am, what I can do, what I represent. And that's very important because, I don't think people understand how powerful the subconscious mind is, and they also don't understand how things like music affects your mind. Like it's not. I don't think it's out of the question that they use hip hop music to control black people and to destroy black people. I really believe that. I really believe
I don't
because
know.
if all you rapping about is lower vibrational bullshit, like how many women I can fuck,
Mm-hmm.
how much weed I can smoke, how many black people I can kill, that there is no way that it's going to prepare you to go and reach your highest self. I just cannot see how on any level
Uh huh.
that can help you reach your highest self. What do you think?
Okay, I want to add some color to what you said.
Okay,
So,
add color to it.
I mean, Okay, so while we were down in Louisville, there's a concert going on.
Little Dirk.
Little Dirk
Little Baby.
And Lil Baby has a concert, right? And
I'm gonna be Lil Boys.
You're gonna be Lil Boys. So
if I put out an album under the name Lil Boys, are y'all gonna buy my album? Will y'all buy my album?
Lil B. You gonna go from Dr. Boys to Little Boys?
Little Dr. B. That don't even sound right. I can't. You woman, you know ain't nothing little about me, girl. I ain't little. I ain't trying to be little. I'm big boys. You know, seriously, in the 6th grade, they asked us to pick a nickname for ourselves. They said everybody. It was a game, you know, to introduce everybody. They said introduce yourself with a nickname, and my nickname was Big Bad Boys. I kid you not.
That is great. Okay, well, where did that come from, boys?
Because I want to be big. I don't want to be little. I don't want to be no little. I don't want to be little, and I don't want to be a baby. I was a baby.
Wait, big. I want
to. Until I was 3.
No, that's.
And then I became a grown-ass man in kindergarten. Sorry, go ahead, man. My apologies.
I want to relate what you said to the subconscious mind. So,
okay, got it.
Big bad boys. Like, who told you that? Like, someone had to tell you you're big bad boys. On some level, you got messages.
Well, it wasn't that I saw myself as big bad boys. It's just that that's what you, as a kid, nobody wanted to be a little baby. Like, nobody wanted to be little or, you know, so it wasn't like I was that. I was 12, right? I was 11.
Wait, how old? Okay.
That's what I wanted to be. That's what I aspired to. I aspired to, you know, strength and power.
Yeah, so what I'm saying is that somewhere along the line, you saw that in your environment, or however you saw that as a trait that's desirable, to be big and bad, a big bad voice. Yeah. You know, so I'm relating this to subconscious mind, because subconsciously, that's what, you know, you name yourself based on how you see yourself. You were naming it was your opportunity to name yourself instead of just being what your parents told you.
Oh, very interesting.
So I'm just trying to bring it back to that. I'm not trying to. I'm just trying to say, like, that's where you got that.
I probably got something from my dad. I mean, my daddy.
Okay, you know, yeah. My daddy, okay, say more.
My daddy, you know, he's not a big man, but he's a big man. If that means something, you know. My father is a dominant human being. He's not a punk, you know. And so, I never, as a man, you know, wanted to be punked, you know.
Good.
But then I grew out of that into a sense that I learned that, you know, if you really are big and bad or whatever, if you really are powerful, you don't always have to prove that you're powerful. You know, like, you know, because some people feel like they got to always prove stuff to other people. And I think that's the difference between, that's the difference between believing that you're something and knowing that you're something. Like, I need to prove it to you so you'll believe that I am what I say I am. But if I just know it, I don't always need to prove it.
Well, if you're already big and bad, you don't need to prove that you're big and bad. That's just what you are, right?
Right.
That's just you.
Yeah.
And you don't need to say it. Someone else needs to tell you that.
Well, I mean, sometimes I guess if the situation calls for it, like walk softly, carry a big stick.
Right.
Not walk loudly with a big stick. You know, like, that's unnecessary. It's a lot of wasted energy. I'd rather walk softly and carry the big stick. And then, you know, if I need to whop you upside the head with the stick, I'm going to do it. I'm not even going to announce it, you know? So I do agree with that.
Okay, good. So that's a perfect illustration of your subconscious mind. I mean, your dad is there with you every single day, and he's programming you, which I think is beautiful, because I program my children. I program them in a subtle way. I mean, how could you not? Right.
Well, we all program our kids, you know, and I think, and I think that we should be conscious about it, because if we don't do it, white people are going to program our children, you know, like they, you know, I think, again, I think that there's deliberate efforts. Like, I hear a lot of black people talking like victims. And remember, they were talking about how they were saying, if you talk about your trauma and you say, I am traumatized, you can't grow beyond the trauma. As opposed to saying, yeah, I went through some shit, but I learned from it, and that's why I'm powerful and strong and capable. Like, so you see the trauma as a stepping stone to something bigger and better, as opposed to simply saying, I'm traumatized, I'm a victim. I don't like referring to myself as a victim ever.
Right.
You know, I just don't, you know, and I see a lot of victimization. I constantly hear victim, you know, when I look at black media, and it's crazy.
Well, I mean, we were talking about that concert, and you were mentioning about the music, and I mean, we know it's very powerful, but it's also your environment too,
Right.
right? So, like, we could listen to that music. We're not listening to it 24/7, but we're not living that life. It's not our makeup of what we are. And we're driving through Gary right now.
Yeah.
So, I'm from Gary. I listen to It's this group called AMG. Oh my God, they so raunchy. I get Oh my God, don't even recite it. Okay, thank you. I memorized that entire album. Every single song in that album, I memorized it from forward and backward. But I didn't live that life. It was just amusing to me. For some reason, I had no business. Even like as a Catholic schoolgirl, we used to listen to NWA all the time. And it probably warped my mind in some way. But we were Catholic schoolgirls, so it was not really reinforced in our life. I think the sad part is where the music is there and you live in that lifestyle. We talked about this earlier, and it's all around you. It's being reinforced. So in that sense, it can actually be detrimental.
Yeah, I think with hip hop, there's a clear line between the person who imitates what they see on the record versus the person who just sees it as entertainment.
Yeah.
I compare it to, 1920 in the Cotton Club. If you've got a black man on stage performing a minstrel show, and a white man's watching him, and he's clapping, and he's laughing, and he's saying, "Oh, that boy's so funny," and the black man's making all this extra money. So the white man's watching him. The white man and his kids are not watching the minstrel show saying, "Ooh, I want to do a minstrel show one day." They're just watching and saying, "Ooh, that Negro is so entertaining." The kid that's affected is the black boy who's the bus boy.
That's right.
The bus boy is watching, and the bus boy is watching this interaction, and he's watching the white man admire the minstrel show and give the black man money, and he says, "I'm black like him, so in order for me to get money, I need to do what the guy's doing on stage." And so that's where, like hip hop, the minstrel show of hip hop is where you got lower class people. Hip hop is built off of not all black culture, all black people. It's built off of black people that are in the lower class, that are in the hood. So if you're part of hood culture, then you're gonna see a rapper who makes $1 million rapping about only God knows what, and you're gonna imitate. Not everybody in the hood does this, of course, right? But you have a lot of people that will imitate that because they'll say, okay, this person who's just like me, this is how they got admiration from the world. Whereas the white kid who's in college just says, this is really cool. Like they just think they like hearing the stories about the hood and all that. And I think that and I think the sad part about it though is that it becomes just extra real. Like when I saw Lil Durk in Louisville,
was that him? I think we saw him get in that car.
We saw a bunch of dudes getting out of a big black Escalade with tinted windows.
Else could it have been?
So it could have been Durk, okay. But it was cool. Like I wish him the best, right? But it was like, when you look at Chicago, where drill rap is 100% real in Chicago, like drill rap is not a game in Chicago. It kind of makes you. It's basically a situation. It's a little bit like It's like how corporations pollute the environment. Like they get all the benefits, but they don't have to deal with the waste. Like it's like a company that dumps all their waste in the river, and they're like, "It's in the river. We don't have to think about it." Mm-hmm. Well, the black community, the poor black community, receives all the toxic waste that comes from the mass marketing of racist genocide against black people. The kid in the suburbs ain't gonna have to deal with what happens in the hood, but the people in the hood deal with it on a daily basis.
Yeah, I know. When I was in college, I used to be offended. There'd be like white boys rapping Tupac. I'm just like, you be quiet. You don't have the right to. This music ain't for you. His music is not for you. I used to get kind of insulted.
Well, it's
I'm like, that's not a novelty thing.
Well, it isn't. I mean, the black man and the black woman are novelties.
Novelties. That's how it felt to me. I was insulted.
And if you're not a novelty, like if you try to actually show up as a real, complete human being, they're like, well, I don't get that. Like, you're not a human being. You're a novelty, right? So if you're not rapping or balling, then no, we have no use for you. We're not interested
Mhm.
in you if you're an engineer or a parent or or a scientist, right? And that's like the way Quincy, our son, what he goes through. When he's 6'6", and everybody says, "Well, don't you play basketball?" And then they say, "Oh my God, what a waste of height," you know. And
Yeah.
I'm more concerned about him not wasting his brain than I am about him wasting his height. I don't care about that.
Yeah, I mean, but with the subconscious mind is just, perpetuating these stereotypes. And I think that's like the big thing that gets me. The reason why I pay attention to it is that people are reacting to these stereotypes. And so they don't even see me for me. Not that I really care, but I'm not being seen for me. I'm seeing through the lens of all of the black female stereotypes. And
Yeah.
that's how, for the people who put that on me, it's showing their subconscious, because racism is subconscious. It's not something that you're not even aware that you're doing. You don't even know that you're ignoring me and devaluing me and all of that because of your preconceived notion. All of us have it. We all have biases.
Well, I mean, there are people who think black women are all thoughts and
Yeah.
that they all identify with Cardi B. Like, and so if you're a black woman, you don't identify with Cardi B, people are like, what? Like, what are you talking about? Like,
and it hurts when your own people put that on you. Like,
yeah, and it's
oh my gosh.
Yeah, so like the subconscious mind, I think a big part of setting goals and accomplishing things is really being intentional about programming your subconscious mind. Like really thinking about what energy you allow into your brain, what you say to yourself. Like I rarely will allow myself to say anything negative to myself about myself. It doesn't matter how I'm messed up. I literally, one of my rules is I always give myself positive energy, positive, unconditional love.
Is that what you do?
Yeah, because
so like if something, what do you do? Like if something unfortunate happens to you, like what do you do?
I might say, damn, if I could do that over again, I would fix it. But that's okay. I can fix it. Let's go do it. Let's go make it right. Let's go get it.
You try to fix it. Yeah, I don't necessarily. I think it's good to try to fix it, but like for me, I just make applesauce. I just like okay. I just twist it around to make it work for me.
Well, I found like there's some basic values that almost always seem to work in every situation. Like hard work almost always is a good thing. Whether you're winning or you're losing, you're always going to be better off if you just keep working hard. If you're winning, work hard, keep working hard. If you're losing, keep working hard.
Yeah.
And also optimism almost always is the best energy. Pessimism doesn't do much for you.
Yeah.
Like crying over spilled milk and talking about what you can't do and how it ain't gonna work and how you're gonna fail. Like, I think being aware and saying, okay, these are the things you gotta watch out for. But I think you gotta, even when you look at pessimistic ideas, you must look at it from an optimistic framework. So, if you're gonna climb Mount Everest and someone says, well, a lot of people die when they climb Mount Everest, then you'll say, okay, let's figure out how I can climb Mount Everest without dying.
I see.
Like what do the survivors all have in common? Like give me a list of all the people who climbed it successfully so I can learn what to do and what not to do. And let's learn from the people who didn't climb it successfully.
Yeah, I try to be I'm always optimistic. And I always say, ooh, good grief, that definitely did not go well. But I know it's getting better. Like I always acknowledge, okay, that was less than ideal, but this is what I learned from, and it's getting better. Like I always tell myself, it's getting better, or I'm going to do better, or it will be better, or it turned out the way it was absolutely supposed to turn out, and I do not think twice about it. So it's just that level of optimism, which can piss people off. What is up with that?
Yeah. Well,
I'm just like, go away with your pessimist self.
Well, sometimes sometimes being negative is comfortable for some people because being optimistic means that you have that you're identifying hope and possibility, and identifying hope and possibility means that you might actually have to work to create a reality. Like it's risky, and if you get your heart broken, dead dreams are very heartbreaking. So like when we set a goal, like New Year starts, and you say I'm gonna do this, and this, and you don't accomplish any of it, like you feel like shit a little bit. So I think there's some people who just set low expectations, so they're never disappointed. You know what I mean? Like, if I just don't have any dreams, then I can never fail. I can never deal with the sadness that comes from coming up short, you know, I can just sit in this dead reality and be comfortable there.
Yeah, are you reading the comments?
I can't read the comments.
You can't read the comments? I can barely see. I don't know why.
We need
to get my vision checked.
Yes. Take you to the eye. Take that woman to the eye doctor.
Okay, so tell me, like, Boyce, for you, like, what is it that you do? Like, what do you tell yourself? What are some things that you tell yourself to help program yourself? Because you talked about that.
Well, some things are some things I tell myself are honestly private. It's not something I really feel comfortable talking to a lot of people about. But generally speaking, they tend to be very affirmative, mm-hmm. positive ideas. And the reason is that, you know, life throws a lot of shit at you. You know, you deal with shit. You deal with doubts. You deal with mistakes. You deal with legitimate criticisms. You know, and you got to hear all that, right? Mm-hmm. You know, like you know, some stuff you can't ignore. But how you process it, you must. So, like in a way, you know, they say a spoonful of sugar makes the medicine go down, right? So, optimism, a spoonful of optimism can make any situation tolerable, you know. So, generally, when I'm dealing with, you know, challenges or whatever, I just lean toward everything that I know. I lean toward the power of God inside of me. In that way, I'm probably very religious. I believe that God made us as these beings who have potential and capability far beyond anything that we can ever imagine for ourselves. Mm-hmm. You know, and I think that, and I believe I get unconditional love from God. I get unconditional love from myself, and that unconditional love to me translates into unconditional possibility. It means, you know, like if I think about myself, like I feel like I've been. Like I feel like I'm not just me. I feel like I've been with Boyce his whole life, right? I know that sounds weird, but I've been there with him, and I'm not gonna ever give up on him. You know, like I'm ride or die with, you know, with him. And I know that I don't know if that even sounds weird, but it's like if I love him unconditionally, warts and all, even when he makes a mistake, and say, "Look, man, I'm with you. I got you. You're gonna do this. You can get through this. Keep going." That's what actually helps me overcome things. You know, so it starts with very, very high level kinds of ideas. I think like God and love, and really with God and love, I believe you can do anything. I think those are the two. If you got infinite amounts of connection to the power that comes from the God inside of you, mm-hmm. and you have infinite supplies of love for yourself and love for others, love for your dreams. Love is the most powerful force in the universe, man. Like, you can do anything with love.
Yeah, and all of that takes, like, forgiveness, wouldn't you say? Like, you really have to forgive, not only forgive yourself, though, you have to forgive yourself for past versions of yourself where you think you may have come up short.
Yeah.
You know, it's like forgiving. And then you got to forgive others. First of all, you got to forgive your parents for all the things that they've done. I got to forgive my parents for all the things that they've done that have been less than ideal.
Yeah.
You got to forgive everybody, all the people around you who you feel may have slighted you, or things may have not gone the way it needed to have been, you know, and just really have that forever forgiveness for that.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. I mean, that ability to forgiveness is like a superpower. And my fundamental belief is, like, when you carry an emotion, I think a good question to ask yourself is, you know, because it's really conversation between you and yourself. You're the only person who's affected by that emotion.
Yeah, what do you tell yourself?
If you stuck on some shit that happened in 2008, you're the only one who lives there. Everybody else moved on to their corner of the world. So you're the only one who's there in 2008. So I think it's like the fundamental question I ask myself is, does it benefit me or harm me to carry this with me? And if it harms me, then I got to get rid of it. And it ain't about proving nothing to no motherfucker. It ain't about offloading that emotion to another person
guess what? You may not even get the validation from other people.
Right.
You'll never get it.
Yeah, that validation from
others. You'll never get closure.
Yeah, getting that person to apologize for
something
that they don't even remember doing, or they swore they never did to you. Like none of that. I mean, you want to be able to bypass all of that and really just get to the idea, the idea that if you make the decision within yourself to move on and find a way to move on and let it go, then you can move on and let it go, and you move lighter through the world when you've forgiven.
Yeah, it is a light feeling, a very light feeling. Or you can even just think about, you know how people talk about time? It's the infinite now. Like everything is now. Like the past doesn't even exist. The future doesn't exist. We
All
just live is everything is the present. And so I kind of think about that. And then I know I won't have to forgive anybody for what they've done because it never happened.
Oh, well, that's deep.
It never existed. It never happened because it's just the ultimate now. Everything is right in this moment. So I don't need to forgive anybody for anything because no one has ever done anything to me because it didn't exist. It didn't even happen.
Damn, that was some metaphysical
How about
shit. That was heavy. Wow. Well, by the way, you can follow Alicia on Instagram at Coaching with Dr. Alicia. The URL's on there, or that's her website also. And also the All Black National Convention's coming up. And so later
on. You want
me
to put that up?
Nah, it's okay.
Okay.
Don't worry about it. We good.
Okay.
We got a nice equilibrium. Okay. But it's allblacknationalconvention.com. If somebody could type it in the chat, I'd appreciate it. It's allblacknationalconvention.com. And also, please hit the thumbs up button. Hit the thumbs up button if you haven't done that yet. So yeah, I really think that one thing that's interesting to me is I feel like a lot of us as Black people, that's one way they oppress us is I think when they
my God,
if I really convince you that that all you can ever be is a victim, or actually as a victim, the best you can do is not get victimized, right?
Or you know what they do?
What?
They make us believe that our history began with slavery.
Oh, that's
we are never ever to forget that. Yes, we know it happened. Yes, but we had a history long before slavery. But it's all, remember all those movies? It was like a rash of movies about slavery. And it was just God, if I see another movie on slavery, I'm going to freak out. Because it's like, that's the only story that needs to be told by Black people deals with slavery. And it's on some subconscious level, it's just reminding us over and over again that that's where we were.
I'm tired of watching slavery movies.
I cannot. I was like, not another slavery movie.
I feel like once you've seen one, you kind of seen them all. Like you know.
Oh my goodness! And then they romanticize slavery. So now that's getting me all worked up.
Oh, remember we went to go see the Harriet Tubman movie? And we went
that Harriet Tubman movie when she shot the Black guy. I was like, what?
Yeah, they made up.
Oh my God!
Here was the crazy part. Did y'all see the Harriet Tubman movie?
Harriet, right?
Yeah, in the Harriet Tubman movie. Remember one thing that sticks out is remember how they invented two Black characters?
Yes.
And it was a Black man and a Black woman. These two people never existed. They invented these people.
Yeah.
And the Black man murders the Black woman.
That's the only murder you see.
That's the only murder you see.
Movie.
Harriet did not. Harriet killed the Black man, but never even killed the white man who enslaved her. She just got mad and she shot in the air and said, "It's wrong to enslave people. It's wrong to make people slaves."
We were in the movie theater like, boo. We were throwing popcorn.
Oh my God, that was so stunning.
We hated that because that was like the intense moment in that movie, right at the end. And we were just waiting on her to shoot him. She did not. She put that gun down and said some stupid line like,
and they kind of
it's wrong. No, she said, it's wrong for people to enslave people. And we were like,
people should not make slaves out of other people.
Like, go away, lady.
And then she lets the white guy go. They're like, this is Harriet, like,
bust
a cap in your ass, Tubman. And she lets the guy go. And it was so crazy. And then they kind of made her like a lesbian.
Yeah, they threw that because that's the agenda.
They're doing that little lesbian scene. And then they had the Black man who dressed as a woman. Agenda.
Yeah, all in the movie.
Crazy.
And wait, did it win an Academy Award? They always win awards.
Well, they always give. Yeah, of course
it won.
Of course, well, it should get an award.
A British actress.
A British actress, yeah. Oh, that's.
I mean, it's just insulting. So we can't even watch movies. But I still don't want it to take my fascination with movies away. Like I still like to watch it, but we still have to kind of be aware of the programming.
Oh, the programming is everywhere.
Yeah.
You
So
know,
once you're conscious of it, it doesn't work anymore.
well, I think that you should focus on programming yourself, right? Like I think that's seems like that's the part of the key too. You know, and I think that there's and you see positive examples where, like, when people program their kids to love their community, to do their best, to work hard, to educate themselves. Like I think that's available to you also, but you can't. I just refuse to accept the idea that we're just meant to be in the victim box. Like I'm not interested in any of that.
Well, I mean, you program the kids in the house because, like, listen to how different they are.
Yeah,
And they don't even know that they're doing it, which is great because they just hear you in the background talking all the time.
That's really true. I guess all that screaming on
up.
my podcast sank into the subconscious.
I mean, they could, and it's perfect because they couldn't hear it loudly, but it was like softly in the background, and that's what advertisements do. When you take a commercial, they want you to go. They want you to take a bathroom break. They want you to go and do other things. Grab some food. Grab something to eat. They want you consciously doing something else so that they can tell you to go buy a Snickers.
Oh, really?
Because it's what you crave.
Oh, really?
Yeah, they want you to.
I used to buy Snickers commercials, and I used to think Snickers was like something you should eat for lunch. Like that should be your whole lunch.
Exactly.
Like if you got hungry, you should eat a Snickers. And then I remember watching like Sprite commercials, and there would be these sweaty black dudes playing basketball, and then instead of drinking water, they would drink a Sprite. And as a kid, I used to think that's what you do. Like if you're playing basketball and you're sweaty, you should go drink a Sprite. That is
be craving a Sprite. You're like, I need a Sprite.
And that's like the dumbest thing in the world to do. Like you should be drinking water. Like, but I really used to think that. I used to think you could eat a Snickers for lunch and drink a Sprite when you play basketball.
Not even Gatorade. I don't even think Gatorade is good for you. It's a lot of sugar in it.
Yeah, well, I like Gatorade.
I know you do. All that sugar.
But anyway, so any last thoughts before we bounce on out?
I mean, I think it is time for us to just take back our minds and stop mindlessly watching media, because it's all media. Anytime you pick up your phone, anytime you turn the TV on, all of it, turn the radio on, it's all media. And you just have to be very cognizant of what enters into you in that media.
Yeah. And I think that, when you look at media, a lot of it, when you see, I mean, it's really sad when I see so many young people where I feel like, gosh, they're not really going to have a chance to really reach their potential.
No.
And be the kind of asset to the community that they could be, because they've been indoctrinated into a mindset or a lifestyle that, like, like when you see a dude that's like 25 years old, walking with his pants like way below his ass, and just kind of.
We saw a lot of butts.
Yeah, it's a lot of booties and stuff, and I'm not totally judging that, but it's kind of like, when you compare that to say like a Brother Ben X. Brother Ben X is like in his 20s, and he's sharp. He looks like a businessman. He's intelligent. He's leading. He's buying property. His values are aimed in a direction that's going to lead to tremendous amounts of success and prosperity for other people. Whereas you see a lot of dudes his age that are not in that space, right? And the question is, who got a hold of you and told you what was important to you?
And then they'll look at him and say, oh, he got lucky. Well, I don't know if he got lucky,
No, he didn't.
He worked on it.
No, yeah. And then, like I'll give you an example, right? Like I was reading about this rapper that our kids told us about, Pooh Shiesty.
Oh, Pooh Shiesty, yeah.
Yeah, so Pooh Shiesty's in jail right now, right? Facing life in prison. I'm sure he's a talented young black man, and he's facing life in prison. And I read up. I decided, I was like, let me just do a Wikipedia on Pooh Shiesty, see what's up. What happened to this young black man? Who could have been, he could have been somebody's like parent. You know what I mean? Maybe he is a parent. You know what I mean? Like whatever, right? But he's now in prison, and I found out why, right? So check this out. I mean, it's literally straight out of a hip hop album. Like his, the way he went to jail was, he got together with some dudes, and they were gonna have a meeting with some other dudes to buy, literally, I swear to God, it was to buy some lean, to buy some weed, and to buy some Jordans. Literally, lean, weed, and Jordans. And they got into it over something, because I think Pooh Shiesty was renting the other dude's car, and they got into an argument. One dude gets shot in the ass, and they identified. Check this out. This is interesting, right? The police allegedly identified him, connecting him with the crime because a Gucci bag fell out the car that had money in. I know, right? It sounds like it's out of a movie script. Seriously, like this is the depth of programming. This is all programmed, right? So the Gucci bag fell out the sports car, and the police identified one of the $100 bills, the serial number on the $100 bill, from the serial number of another $100 bill that Pooh Shiesty had shown on Instagram.
And they compared the serial numbers? Is that
yes, it was that slick. Like they literally so he was Instagram flexing, and they saw showing off his money. You know, that's what everybody does. Again, this is all programming, right? They were taught that this is the culture, right? They were taught this is what you do. And now this young brother, who could have been a Ben X. He could have been out here, you know, saving the community, doing amazing things. But now he might have life in prison. And I'm not even making fun of it. I'm like, I feel sorry for him. I feel sorry for all the potential he could have had, all the people he could have helped, you know. But we got so many of our young boys that have been programmed into becoming something other than what they were supposed to be. Like God, I believe God meant for a real black man, but this is my perspective. This is my programming, right? My view of a black man. When I look at myself as a black man, or look at other young black men, a young black man says, "What's the goal for me as a man?" I say, you know what? Your goal in your life as a man, in my view, is if you want my opinion, should be to be able to say at your funeral that everybody who was in my life had a better life because I was there.
Big bad voice.
Yes, like everybody.
Is that what it is?
Yeah, like my children would never have been able to become who they became if it wasn't for me. My woman never would have felt as good about her life as she did because I came in like Big Daddy and I made things better. You know, the little old lady down the street, she's safe and she's happy because I used to go and bring groceries to her house on Sundays, and I helped her walk across the street. You see what I'm saying? Like you know, just things like that. The youth football league, you know, is won a championship, and these kids all grew up and became happy, successful, committed citizens of the community because of the influence I had. Like, to me, that's like manhood to me. You know, when other people can say, because think about it, because sometimes you get the opposite, where a man is powerful. A man is a guide, especially a strong man. Like, you look at Malcolm Little versus Malcolm X. Malcolm Little had just as much impact as Malcolm X. He just had the impact in the other direction.
He was Little Malcolm. Well, you know what?
He was.
Here we go.
Boom. Oh,
he
wow.
Was Little Malcolm.
He was Little Malcolm. Wow.
So maybe, okay, so let's just say, maybe Pooh Shiesty is going to serve time in prison, and maybe he'll be out, and maybe he'll transform. This is my optimism setting in right now. Like, okay. Sometimes I look at it on a different perspective. I look at it where sometimes you need to experience these things so that you can go through that transition to be who you really supposed to be.
I can see that. Okay.
So, you know, that's what I'm going to put out there. Pooh Shiesty is going to turn around.
Well, you know, we're praying for Pooh. We praying for Pooh Shiesty.
Praying for Pooh Shiesty. Whatever his government name. We don't know his government name.
I forgot I read it, but I don't.
You did read his government name. Whatever. Okay, so he was born with a government name. He's got a rap name, Pooh Shiesty. Maybe he'll come out and transform and name himself again. That would be beautiful. Like, I would love for Pooh Shiesty to say, you know what, I'm saying goodbye to
Shiesty X.
I'm going to say goodbye to the older version of who I am. I'm going to serve time for something that I did, and I'm going to sit there and think about it, and I'm going to transform myself into something better. Yeah, so that's what I'm going to say is going to happen to Pooh Shiesty. And others like Pooh Shiesty. It's not just... What is it, boys?
I'm tired of saying Pooh Shiesty.
Okay, I won't say Pooh Shiesty, but I'm just saying... that's my hope for everybody, for the men that you're talking about, boys. I just think that, you know, that transformation is going to happen for them. Like,
well, you know, you hope so, right? Go ahead.
Okay, go on.
I mean, you hope so. The problem is, here's the challenge, right? I wonder about these drugs. Like, some of those drugs, you know, they give you like permanent brain damage. Like, your brain literally is
Okay.
like so fried you can't really come back and become a normal person. That's what I worry about.
Okay, so science tells us that you take these drugs and you lose your brain cells and you never get it back again. But maybe you can focus your attention on, okay, I'm going to overcome this. I lost some brain cells, but it's not the end of me. I did something in my past. I used to behave in things that weren't to my benefit, wasn't healthy for me. But there have been a lot of people who have been on drugs and lost some brain cells, and they have been able to really achieve wonderful things. So even for them, they can overcome it.
Right, and I don't disagree with any of that. Mm-hmm. What I wonder about is why we have to have 10 million black men overcoming, as opposed to having 10 million black men who didn't have to overcome, who started off on the right track. Like, if you really look at, don't get me wrong, mm-hmm. I feel like we have too many black men that have too many brothers playing catch up. Because it's also possible. It's like a football game, right? If you come back from 30 points down, that's great. You had a miracle win, but then a good coach is going to say, how did we get behind in the first place? Why do we have to get 30 points down before we start really playing football? Why not start playing from the first kickoff?
Oh my God, do not remind me of that Louisville game we watched.
Oh, yeah, that was terrible.
Man, Louisville was celebrating too early, man. What's up with that?
Oh, they were
taking
selfies with the fans.
They were hype. And I'm like, sit down and focus on your defense, which is what they didn't do.
Oh, that was horrible.
I was devastated, but hopefully they learn. Hopefully the football team of the University of Louisville can sit down and can regroup and say that wasn't a loss, that was a lesson that we learned.
That was shiesty.
You never lose. There's no lose, there's always a learn. And so they lost that game, but they're going to win for the rest of the season because they're going to get it together. I mean, that's it. That's what's going to happen to that football team.
Well, it was something else. But yeah, I think that's the part they kind of, don't get me wrong, I don't give up.
And they could have won that game.
Yeah, but I mean, going back to the guys, I don't give up on these young guys at
all. No, don't give up.
I just kind of think that it's like you're really harming. People don't understand. We lose $1 trillion or more per year in the black community from young people just not being properly prepared to lead. Like you can judge the future of a community by the status of its young people. So we have a lot of young people in the community that are doing great, right? That are make us proud, etc. But you also have 100,000 black children that graduate from high school every year and can't even read. Literally 100,000 a year that can't read. So you have these armies, entire mass-produced armies of uneducated black people being tossed into society, and nobody's really fixing it. And I kind of feel like, so when I'm thinking about Powernomics principles, I'm thinking about the fact that in order to nation build, you must learn industrialization. You must mass produce that which you want to see in the world. Like China mass produces 8 million college graduates a year. 3.2 million, 40% of those college graduates are engineers. So they produce 3.2 million engineers per year because we're
producing illiterate people.
Yeah.
The thing. Okay.
Yeah, we're producing like wannabe rappers, guys who had to work at McDonald's because they can't, and they have to put pictures of the food on the cash register because they can't read.
Yeah. So maybe, let's just say they'll all get their hands on Dr. Claude Anderson's books, and they learn how to read through that route. Maybe they can't get the book, but they tune it into YouTube, boys, to your what do you do, a book, what is it called?
The book club.
Maybe they tune it into your book club and you're actually reading. Are you reading the book?
Yeah.
You're actually reading the book. So, okay, so you can't read. So I'm going to tune into Voice every Wednesday night, and I'm going to join this book club, and then I'm going to learn how to read by listening to Voice. Read this book to me every week. I mean, this is what we're going to hope for.
Yeah, and it's happening. I mean,
it's happening.
We're probably doing more to educate the black community, definitely on economics, than all these school systems put together. Like there's, we don't even talk. Those are spam comments.
Oh, okay.
We don't even talk to school districts about and universities about coming to those schools with, some of the Black Business School B1 Powernomics ideologies, like, because we know that they're not B1. Like, these universities are not out here saying, how do we really authentically and with substance solve problems in the Black community. They're not thinking about that. They're thinking about how can we integrate Black people, the ones that we want, into our system so we can solve problems for the white community. And that's where Black people have to kind of wake up a little bit, is that you're not serving your own community because you're being used as pawns to serve the interests of other people. You are a servant class, and you don't want to be that. You want to be a leadership class. That's what self-determination is all about. We got to watch that Malcolm X, Muhammad Ali.
There's so much. I mean,
there's a new one.
It's a long list of shows we got to get on top.
No, there's a new one on Netflix. It's called The Brotherhood.
Yeah. It's on my list. Yeah, I put it on my need to watch.
I started watching it. I watched it first.
You watched it without me, boys.
Yeah, I watched it.
Oh, that is just
the first 15 minutes. It was good.
No, now you got to rewatch it with me and pretend like you never saw it.
Okay. Yes, ma'am.
That's not fair.
All right.
Well, sneaking behind my back, watching stuff. We're supposed to watch together.
Yeah. Okay. Anyway. All right. Well, I'm gonna go ahead and take off. I don't have anything to say.
You have anything else to say? Okay. So I got my final thought in already.
Go ahead. Okay. All right. Well, do your best, everybody, and God bless you. And there's Alicia's email or her website if you want to go take a look. She sees couples. She's a licensed therapist and a full professor of social work. And we are just, I think, less than 3 weeks away from the All Black National Convention in Orlando, October 29th through November 1st. If somebody could type in the URL, it's allblacknationalconvention.com. That's allblacknationalconvention.com. And so we have about 40 experts in a lot of different areas that are solution-oriented that can really help our community. And also, it's just a great experience. It's a lot of fun. We have a whole educational track for children. We're doing it bigger, better, and blacker than we've ever done the convention in the past. So this is going to be the best All Black National Convention ever in terms of the amount of energy and resources we put into it. So I hope you guys will check it out, allblacknationalconvention.com. All right, guys. So we're out of here. Have a good night, and we'll talk to you guys soon. Take care. Peace.
Okay. Bye.